On April 30th, 1975, an unforgettable historical milestone in the hearts of every Vietnamese person. It was the day the country erupted in joy over reunification. The South was completely liberated, the war ended, opening a new chapter for the Vietnamese nation after more than 30 years of arduous resistance. Before delving into the heroic moments of the Great Victory Day, let us take a look back at the historical context of the country during those years. After the Geneva Agreement in 1954, the country was divided into two regions: the North, under a socialist regime, and the South, under the control of the Republic of Vietnam, with the support of external forces. This division was not only a geographical boundary, but also the painful separation of countless families, and it represented the burning desire for reunification in the hearts of every Vietnamese person. The years of the resistance against American imperialism to save the nation were tough, fierce, and full of sacrifices. Countless outstanding sons of the nation fell on various battlefields in the South, from the mountains of the Central Highlands, the Mekong Delta, to the bustling cities like Saigon, Hue, and Da Nang. They left with unwavering faith in the day of total victory, with the dream that one day the country would be united, North and South together as one family. In early 1975, after the Great Victory in Buon Ma Thuot, the Central Highlands Campaign marked the beginning of the historic Spring General Offensive and uprising. Our military and people surged forward like a flood, attacking with great intensity, liberating major cities one after another: Hue, Da Nang, Nha Trang, Cam Ranh, Phan Rang, Phan Thiet. In less than 2 months, the situation of the war had completely changed. The Saigon government was increasingly weakened, disintegrating in parts under the pressure of the closely coordinated attacks between the main military divisions and the People's Uprising Forces. The pinnacle of the general offensive was the historic Ho Chi Minh Campaign, which began on April 26, 1975. With the spirit of rapid, bold, unexpected, and certain victory, the main forces of the Southern Liberation Army simultaneously advanced into Saigon from 5 directions: east, west, south, north, and northwest. On the night of April 29th to the early morning of April 30th, the units successively breached the final defensive lines, moving close to the city center. The historic moment arrived on the morning of April 30th, 1975. At exactly 10:45 a.m., tank number 390 of Brigade 203, Corps 2, crashed through the main gate of the Independence Palace. The liberation flag waved atop the palace, and the Saigon government declared unconditional surrender. The gunfire ceased, the war ended, and the entire nation erupted in immense joy. Millions of Saigon residents poured into the streets, waving flags, cheering, and embracing the liberation soldiers as if they were reuniting with their long-lost loved ones. April 30th is not only the day the South was completely liberated, but also the day the country was unified, with North and South coming together as one. It is the result of the resilient will, the spirit of solidarity, and the deep patriotism of the entire Vietnamese nation. It is the victory of righteousness, of justice, of the desire for peace and independence. After the Great Victory, the country entered the process of healing the wounds of war, rebuilding the homeland from the ashes and ruins. During those years, despite countless difficulties and hardships, the belief in a bright future provided strength to the entire nation. From the barren fields, the ruined cities, the bombed and rugged roads, the hard-working hands of the Vietnamese people came together to build a new life. April 30th is also an occasion for every Vietnamese citizen to remember and pay tribute to the heroes and martyrs, the heroic Vietnamese mothers, the wounded and sick soldiers, those who sacrificed their youth, blood, and personal happiness for the independence and freedom of the homeland. They are the ones who have written the immortal epic of the nation, so that today, the younger generation can live in peace, prosperity, and happiness. The significance of April 30th goes beyond military victory. It is also a lesson about the strength of national unity, patriotism, and the spirit of self-reliance and resilience to overcome all challenges and rise up. It serves as a reminder to today's and future generations to appreciate the value of peace and independence, to preserve and promote the heroic traditions of our ancestors, and to work together to build a prosperous and civilized nation. Every year when April comes, the whole country is adorned with flags and flowers. The streets and corners resonate with heroic songs like "As If Uncle Ho Is Here on the Joyous Victory Day," "Liberation of the South," "Marching to Saigon." The glorious memories of the great victory flood back into everyone's mind. Today's younger generations are reminded of the values of freedom and independence, inspired by the indomitable spirit of their ancestors to continue steadfastly on the path of development and integration. April 30th is also an occasion for Vietnamese people around the world to turn their hearts towards the homeland, sharing a sense of pride in a heroic and indomitable nation that does not yield to any foreign power. The spirit of April 30th will forever be the guiding light, the spiritual support for the Vietnamese nation to overcome all challenges, building a peaceful, unified, developed, and happy country. Today, across the country, from Hanoi, Hue, Da Nang to Ho Chi Minh City, from the borders to distant islands, everywhere is bustling with the atmosphere of celebrating the liberation of the South and the unification of the country. Festivals, parades, special artistic programs, traditional gatherings, stories about the glorious days, all come together like an endless symphony, praising the great victory of the nation. But more than that, April 30th is an occasion for every Vietnamese person to reflect on themselves, to live up to the great sacrifices of previous generations, to continue the heroic tradition, and to work together to nurture the bright future of the country. That is the responsibility, the duty, and the pride of every child of the Vietnamese land. The victory on April 30th, 1975, marked the end of a tragic chapter in the nation's history, opening a new era, an era of independence, freedom, unification, and development. It was the victory of patriotism, of resilient will, of the spirit of solidarity, and the aspiration to rise up of the entire Vietnamese nation. Today, as the country has transformed strongly and integrated deeply with the world, each Vietnamese citizen increasingly feels the value of peace, independence, and freedom. The achievements that the country has attained today are the crystallization of the intellect, strength, sweat, and even the blood and bones of countless generations that came before. April 30th will forever be a great festival day for the entire Vietnamese nation. It is a day of joyful reunification, of the desire for peace, and of the immortal spirit of patriotism. It is also a day for each of us to remember our roots, our traditions, and the valuable lessons that history has imparted. Although time may pass and the world may change, the significance of April 30th will forever endure with the Vietnamese people. It is a source of motivation that urges each person to continuously strive for improvement and contribute to the development of their homeland and country in order to live up to the heroic and indomitable traditions of their ancestors. When we listen to the stories about the Day of Liberation of the South and the unification of the country, we feel even prouder and cherish the values of today's life even more. That is the result of the tireless sacrifices and contributions of countless previous generations. It is a reminder for each person to live worthily and to contribute their small part to the cause of building and protecting the fatherland. April 30th, the Day of Liberation of the South and national reunification, will forever be a symbol of the indomitable will, the spirit of great unity, the deep patriotism, and the unstoppable aspiration of the Vietnamese people to rise up. It is a source of pride and an endless inspiration for every Vietnamese citizen to continue writing the brilliant golden pages of history for the homeland and the country. Let us together preserve and promote the heroic tradition of April 30th, so that with each passing day, Vietnam becomes stronger and more prosperous, allowing future generations to forever live in peace, independence, freedom, and happiness.